Our man Eric Crocker right here, host of the Locked On 49ers podcast and one of our favorite people to talk 49ers football with. Crocky, what you think about them games this weekend?
Amazing weekend just in general, and it's even better when the 49ers win, right? They're a part of it. But just how those games, all of them, from the Cincinnati Bengals Tennessee game, they had a wild ending. The Rams and Bucks game, I thought it was over, and I had some money on these guys money line, so I was watching it with a little kind of different adrenaline going, but that was a good ending. And then to cap it off with really what might have been the best as far as explosive plays, the Bills and Kansas City Chiefs game. It was just amazing to kind of like watch that. That's going to be one of those weekends that we probably remember for a lot of years to come.
Well, let me start there. I know we're gonna talk Niners, Crocky, because that's what we do when we got Eric Crocker on. But let me start off with that one because I didn't play football, and I absolutely cannot be an NFL, college, or high school football coach. I understand that. But to me, it's a little common sense. With 13 seconds left, I'll even give them the first Tyreek Hill play. I'll be like, oh, we thought they might try and launch it down the field. And we had guys back and they got it to Tariq, and he went for about 15 to 20. But after that happens, why are you not touching Kelsey or Tyreek Hill for about 15, 20 yards? I would have had this, what I would have done, Crockett. And tell me if you can't do this. I would have had 2 guys rushing, and I would have put 9 other guys in coverage. I would have, tried to jam up Tyreek or Kelsey or whatever, just because time is my other teammate. Time is my other teammate. It don't matter if Patrick Mahomes has all day to throw. I would have rushed 2 and done it that way. Is that even possible?
They had timeouts, I believe, right? They still had a timeout left. So you don't want to rush 2 because all that's going to do is just give Mahomes more time to really get downfield. I think you kind of have to go back a little bit more where they really messed up. And it was not squib kicking. I thought that was the obvious thing to do, right? Like it's just, hey, squib kick it. That's going to run about 3 seconds off the clock. And then you are guaranteed they only have 2 plays. They only have 2 plays. You squib kick it in 3 seconds run off. You got 10 seconds to run 2 plays. That's it. And I think that's where the biggest mistake was. After that, you have the first play, and it's like, man, okay, they picked up some yards. That was a good play to Tyreek Hill. The second one, that was tough. The corner to that side, ideally, you probably want him to squeeze that a little bit more so he can potentially contest that pass. He wanted to protect out of bounds, and I get it. You have to do that. You can't let him get out of bounds. But at the end of the day, hell, they still had a timeout or 2 left. So whether he gets out of bounds or not, that's not really what's going to hurt you. So protecting out of bounds, I guess that's a little unnecessary. I think the biggest thing that they need to do there was just not give up the catch or make them have to run another play, and they didn't. And that's unfortunate for Buffalo.
He had a free run for 15 yards. Nobody touched him.
Yeah. So I feel like he picked up more than 15 yards.
No, I'm saying before the first person touched him, it was like 15, 20 yards. Like I would have had, that's what I'm saying. I would have had somebody jamming Kelsey and Tyreek because you just jam them. You know what I'm saying? And then you got your other guys helping on the sidelines or whatever. But after the first, you knew what they were trying to do.
Even if you take a pass rusher, somebody that's rushing the passer, say you want to rush 3 or you want to rush 4, have the guy first chip Kelsey to slow him down a little bit and then get, into his pass rush mode. So that was something they could have done as well. I tell you this, right now, they're talking about what they could have done differently, but unfortunately, they'll have to figure out if that's going to work next year because this year's over for them. And that sucks because, man, Josh Allen played so well, and it was almost like he had a chance to slay the dragon, and I'm pretty sure he thought, oh, it's over. We did it. Wow. On to the AFC Championship game against the Bengals, and Mahomes was like, not so fast.
Cracky, let's shift gears. Obviously, that was a phenomenal football game. Over to another phenomenal football game, this one with the San Francisco 49ers. If you're handing out a game ball to someone in a San Francisco 49ers uniform, who does the Eric Crocker game ball go to?
Oh, first and foremost, it has to go to Robbie Gould, right? Being able to kick in those elements, clutch kicks, and there was no room for error. And they keep showing that graphic that he's never missed a field goal in postseason. I feel like they're trying to jinx him. I'm like, man, why do they keep trying to jinx my guy? But that didn't matter. Kicking in those elements, they got him close enough. He banged it right through. So I think first and foremost, like the first game ball has to go for him. go to him for just sealing the deal.
Yeah. What did you think about Fred Warner out there? I thought he was a man possessed out there. First of all, no sleeves for Fred, and it's a play that kind of gets lost, but I felt like it slowed things down. Packers come down, score easily, real easy. It was easy work, 7-0. Niners, I think, go 3 and out after that. Packers get the ball back, and they're moving it again. And Fred Warner, a playmaker, comes out there with the Norman knockout or the peanut punch or whatever you want to say to get the turnover. And they didn't get points off of that, but he slowed it down. It was like, all right, calm down, everybody. We're out here too. I felt like that set the tone for the rest of the game defensively.
Yeah, I think Fred Warner, he brings that that emotional side of things as far as leadership goes to the 49ers. I feel like he's like the most outspoken guy on that, especially on that defense. Well, Jimmy Ward too, he's pretty outspoken, but in the sense that when you just watch him play and you see that energy and that aggressiveness jump off the screen, that's Fred Warner. And in the first drive, he made a couple plays. There was one play he blew up Aaron Jones, made him drop the ball. He gets up, he's flexing, calls him a little boy, does that whole thing. And then the next drive, like you said, comes back, punches the ball out. And I mean, shoots, after the first drive, the Packers never scored another touchdown. And I think a lot of it was led by Fred Warner. There was a play on third down where they targeted him on like a deep crossing route. He was there, great defense. So Fred Warner, he leads by example. And there were a lot of people that were kind of down on him for whatever reason this year. I think maybe because the lack of like turnovers or whatever, they stopped calling him All-Pro Fred and all that. And there people question, is Azeez Al-Shaair better than him? Fred Warner, man, the way he played in this game, I think he plays like that every game. Like you said, a man possessed and brings a lot of energy.
I feel like the whole defense was questioned until these final like 4 or 5 weeks or so. And you've been a defensive back, man. What did you see from those 49ers D-backs who we've been waiting for like 5 weeks for them to blow a game and they haven't done it yet?
Well, I've said it before. I was on here and I was like, hey, man, it's a little over-exaggerated with the secondary. Everybody harped on it. They can't play this and that. And they'll pick out certain plays. And I get it. Josh Norman is not ideal to have him out there, right? And that wasn't part of their plans to have Josh Norman out there for the entire year to choose. If it was up to them, it would be Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett. But they had to work with what they had. They had to bring some guys in. I think the defensive coordinator did an amazing job of playing around his guys' kind of strengths and hiding certain weaknesses. And for stretches of, throughout the season, there were times where the cornerbacks weren't playing as well. So what do? Okay, let's run more too high. Let's play more, coverages to keep things in front of us. And they did an extremely good job of that, leading the 49ers to, the number 6 pass defense in the NFL. So, people could point out, oh, well, this corner is not good. Every team typically has to deal with a liability, but how do you work around that? And I thought DeMeco Ryans did a terrific job of doing that. And in my opinion, secondary wasn't an issue outside of maybe the Colts game where they got called for hella pass interferences.
Right. We're done with the Packers. We disposed of them boys. They old news. We done with the Packers. We ain't got to worry about them boys no more. Yeah. A-Rod, get out of here. You at no more. Speaking of A-Rod, we'll talk about him in the stands, the A-Rod. But on to the Rams. Third time this season. I mean, one of the biggest and best games of the regular season was that Week 18 matchup. So emotional. You were in the building. It was almost, I don't want to say the birth of a rivalry because these two have been rivals since going back to the 80s and 90s. But as far as the new school, since the Rams came back, it feels like that was the birth. This season is the birth of the rivalry. Are you concerned at all about facing this team for a third time and giving them a third time to see you?
Yeah, definitely. And not for maybe some of the reasons why some of the fans, obviously I'm on Twitter. I get the posts of the fan base and it's like, man, it's hard to beat somebody 3 times in a year. Obviously 49ers have beat them 6 times straight. Somebody did pull up numbers and said, typically if you sweep a team in the regular season, 67% of the time you win that game in the postseason. So history is on the 49ers side as far as if you look at the third time playing this team type thing. But to me, you have to throw all that out the window. And I look at each game kind of individually and what the Rams kind of bring to the table. And they are an explosive offense, and they have explosive players on defense as well. And what I mean by that is they got guys that at any point they can throw off whatever it is you're doing offensively. You know, I watched Von Miller Sunday evening against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I don't know, it looked like somebody maybe injected 2015 into his veins, man. Like, he was screaming off of that edge. There was nothing that the left tackle could do. Now, you know, the Bucs, they were down offensive linemen, and there was no Tristan Wirfs, but just how he was coming off of that edge, looking like a man possessed, forcing fumbles on Tom Brady, that changes the dynamic of games. You know, looking at how Aaron Donald can be very disruptive, that changes the dynamic of games. Looking at how at any moment Cooper Kupp can stretch the field and burn you. He had 180 receiving yards. The emergence of Odell Beckham, who continues to build a rapport with Matthew Stafford. So, you know, I get it. And I think there is something to the 49ers owning the Rams, right? There's something to it in the sense of they understand how to play this team. But if the Rams flip that switch, then, you know, it can get very interesting. And the 49ers saw that early last game when the Rams were up 17-0. And 49ers start to have some things go their way. So, you know, it is tough. It's tough when you're going up against a team with so many different game changers on both sides of the ball. I don't think it's the lock that a lot of 49er fans are kind of giving off. I think it's going to be a dogfight, and hopefully 49ers come out on top. You know, 49ers got the recipe, that's for sure. Just play your brand of football.
Is it more difficult psychologically, like as a player, thinking, you know, it's one thing to lose twice to a team in a season. It's a whole other thing to have lost to them 6 times. I don't know if 6 equates. Has Sean McVay ever beaten Kyle Shanahan?
He did the first year, maybe the first 2 years they split.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they split. And one of them was, Kyle Shanahan or McVay sat all his starters in that first year, I believe it was. So they have, he has won, but almost like Aaron Rodgers, right? We watch Aaron Rodgers right now, and he gets in the postseason and he starts kind of freezing up against the 49ers for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but they've kind of had his number. And I'm like, man, does Aaron Rodgers have to prove to himself that he can beat the 49ers organization in the playoffs, whether it's Garoppolo at quarterback or Colin Kaepernick, because he lost twice now, both guys. I wonder if there is some of that to the Rams and Sean McVay. Does Sean McVay have to prove to himself that I'm not going to let my big brother Kyle Shanahan bully me anymore? Right? Maybe there's some of that going on. There has to be some type of mental thing going on there, and I think we've seen that with the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Well, how come the Seahawks, even in a down year, sweep the 49ers for whatever reasons, right? Why have the Seahawks had so much success over the 49ers? Even going back to the Harbaugh year, last Harbaugh year, they swept the 49ers. So I think there is something to that just kind of hangs over you until you overcome it. And right now, the Rams, they're kind of stuck in that funk right now where the 49ers are kind of the big bad wolves.
Yeah. It don't matter what's going on. We hadn't been able to touch the Seahawks for like 10 years now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's been ugly.
No sense.
What you think happens this weekend?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm putting my money on 49ers game money line. You're giving the 49ers right now 3.5 points. I'll take that. I'll say this. If 49ers lose, it ain't going to be by more than 3. But I like the 49ers here. Obviously, they do a really good job of establishing the run. I think everybody knows that, right? The 49ers, they want to run the rock, and they want to pound the rock. I think they want to run the rock to set up some of the passes that they like to do and some more deep shots. And maybe the 49ers do some things to open things up in the passing game. The uses of Deebo Samuel as a receiver and a running back. Someone had asked me, like, well, what's going on with Jeff Wilson? If Jeff Wilson isn't there, it's like, bro, does it matter? Like, Deebo Samuel is the 49ers spellback at running back. You know, he's their second running back, which is crazy because he's their first receiver. So if everybody gets going, 49ers cooking that way, and if they can force a turnover early on Matthew Stafford, I mean, I like the 49ers. Don't think it'll be a blowout or anything because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but Jimmy Garoppolo kind of struggles to help put teams away. And more times than not, he's going to do something to keep another team in the game. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do see the 49ers winning this game by like 4 points.
Okay. I like that, Crocky. Let's go, man. You gonna be in the building? You making the move out here again?
Yeah, man. So Friday I go out to Mobile, Alabama for the HBCU combine. So I had to pick up my credentials and all that. And they got that going on Saturday out there in Mobile. And then I was looking at flights because I fly Southwest, and all the flights get me from I would have to drive to Pensacola, Florida, and then fly from there. It's about 45 minutes from Mobile, but I would have to drive there to fly out to LA. And the flights, it was like everything, like the timing is all off. It gets me out there at a wrong time. I either have to miss the HBCU combine to fly out Saturday, or Sunday I pretty much missed the whole game because they don't have me getting out there until like 6 p.m. So
That's
it looks
crazy.
like I'm not going to be able to catch the game live, but trust me, I was trying to figure out any way that I'd be able to make it there. I won't be able to. I was looking forward to it. Somebody gave me a good deal on the ticket. So I was like, hell yeah, bro, I'm there, but I can't make it work, man.
It's all right, man. That combine more important. That combine more important. We
Yeah.
appreciate you, Crocky. Thanks for carving out some time for us, man.
Appreciate you, big dog.
All good, man. Y'all have a good one.